Boom, 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 refresh, do this. And I still don't see it, but maybe it'll show up after. At any rate, if this thing is saying it's live, then it's got to be live. And if nobody jumps on, then I think we'll know.
Like a page or something, you can maybe screen record it and put it up as a video later.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? We are live. Perfect. What up? Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. So, dude, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for having me on the live, man, on the Facebook Live, the show, the podcast. I don't know what these are now, but they're pretty cool.
Oh, right. Yeah. You're awesome at copywriting, ripping people's sales letters up, writing profitable emails, anything with the written word. I think you're quite versed at. And I also like that you are the Jeet Kune Do guy.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
saw you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, don't you?
No, I like those things, but I tried the Jeet Kune Do when I was little, studying it and learning just because Bruce Lee, you know. Yeah, I didn't do much of anything really. I'm a baseball guy. So.
Okay, so for some reason I could have sworn I saw something that's like BJJ, and you totally wrong then, I guess, but I thought it was.
No, not. Yeah, but cool, I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate you jumping on. King Carlos, that's a cool.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I don't even like it because I like it, I guess, because I coined it, but it came from one of my clients. He kept calling me King Carlos when I would write copy. My buddy Anthony. And he would just be like, dude, I'm just going to call you King Carlos from now on. I was like, yeah, sweet. And then one day, I don't know if we were drinking or hanging out or something, he was like, dude, just change your Facebook profile thing. And so I changed my fan page to say King Carlos Redlich. And when I did it, I'm like, oh, that sounds so like egotistical. Oh, I don't like it. Like inside. But it kind of, I don't know, it kind of took off. So it was a good deal.
Yeah, and that's in line with, I mean, when people, I mean, I don't know if you're a hip hop fan, but they used to call what's his name, Slim Shady, King Mathers when the guy that he signed from Orange County with him. But and then that actual name when it's coined to somebody, it's huge. It's huge. It's like you're the big homie. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's cool. It was a cool deal.
Yeah. So I guess you are. I mean, that's appropriate. You are the big homie in copywriting.
Well, I appreciate it. It's kind of coming out that way, so it's nice. It's nice.
Yeah. And I came across your stuff from Mark at LCT, and Mark's a stellar. I mean, he's the guy of all guys, man.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like him a lot. He's really, really cool.
And then for him to endorse you, and I didn't know much, but when I saw him say, "Hey, this is the guy," I went, I checked you out, and I actually watched your 17, what is that, 17?
17 forms of content?
Yeah.
Nice.
The types of content.
I worked on that with my girlfriend. My girlfriend helped me out with that. She writes copy with me also. Some people have been calling us like the copy couple and stuff. I was like, oh, that's cool, dude. So everybody gives us names, and we just kind of use them.
Yeah. So that was really insightful. And it made me think, right? So I try to do a lot of cold outreach from email to direct message or even calls or whatever. But to have that kind of framework and to know to structure your pitch or whatever it is in those very specific manners, that was great.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I had one specific question, and then that'll lead our conversation. And this is in terms of how powerful the sales mindset and influential the sales mindset is in actually writing copy.
Okay.
Right?
It's essential. You've got to have it or develop it.
Yeah. I think maybe a lot of us that are novices at that, we think of copy first, and then we try to, it's almost like the sales object or the outcome. There's a distance between us. Right?
Yeah.
And I guess
what helps?
Yeah, it's different for people that do it. It's backwards. the way we
It's
see it.
funny, I was a really natural introvert. It's funny. I'm 30 now. I started martial art when I was 12 or 13 years old, and I started martial art because I had no confidence and I was an introvert. That's usually why people start martial art. And so I got interested in it and I got into that. And the way I actually learned copy was through martial art. So it's kind of funny. Like, I ended up training for maybe it was like 10 years, I forget how many years, but I was 21 years old, so just under 10 years when I first started teaching for my instructor. And he was telling me, he's like, you know what, man, if you want to like actually like go to the next level, like as a human being, you have to learn to communicate with people, right? Selling is nothing more than being able to communicate with other people. And so I was like, okay, cool. But I still didn't get the what's the big deal about sales? Like I was just not a sales, like I wasn't a sales guy, you know what I mean? I was an introvert. I didn't like talking to people and shit. So the thing that kind of switched it for me is when I started teaching class, he was like, you have to be able to sell the people to come back to the next class. They've got to feel it inside, this burning desire that they've got to come back because there's that one thing they still need to learn or whatever it is. So once my brain started working like that, I started kind of learning sales by teaching martial art. And then I started, and then he actually helped me. He was like, look, even though you're an introvert, you can still learn sales kind of through the, the principles of sales, but through writing it. So he introduced me to copywriting, and I started studying all the stuff on copy. And that was a huge introduction. I mean, copy saved my life. Martial arts saved my life because it introduced me to copy. You know what I mean? It was huge, huge.
How long did it take for you to feel like you mastered copy, to feel like, you know what, or actually, let me back up. How long did it take for you when you started to get your big win when you wrote something that just resonated with the marketplace?
It was the first time I started really taking it seriously is because I was writing stuff for my instructor back then, and then I did a little bit when I owned my martial arts schools after that, but I really didn't do that much. It was more like I would go to the beach, work out, and tell people to come to my gym. So it was just, that's how I was doing it, but I started a website business just because I read the 4-Hour Work Week, and I was training people in my gym, and I was like, man, I could just outsource stuff to the Philippines or China, and that was just my big dream or whatever. It was like introduced to this, and so it was pretty easy. I literally let me back up. I essentially went to Upwork, found like 2 or 3 designers that would make websites for like $100, $200, and I'd sell the websites for $1,500. And the way I was actually doing it is I was going to salesgenie.com and I was downloading lists of like 150 people at a time or something, and cold calling. I developed a script. I started cold calling. My girlfriend cold called. My buddy got in on it because we were making money. And people were telling us, man, cold calling is dead. It sucks, blah, blah, blah. But we were crushing it. Like, we were calling 150 people, getting 4 to 6, and this is per day, 150 people each of us per day. We closed 4 to 6 appointments. Out of the 4 to 6 appointments, we closed 1 to 2 people every single time on a $1,500 website. So it was like, dude, cold calling works. You guys just suck, And so we were in this whole like aggressive, like we could just call and bang out the phone. So we kind of developed that the skill set. If you can pick up the phone and cold call somebody and close them on, even if it's an appointment, you've got a real skill set there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we just kind of, I forget if it was my buddy's idea or my girlfriend's idea or my idea, but we kind of were just like, let's put this into a letter and blast it out to the same people we would call and see if anything happens. And that's what we did. We basically formatted our pitch, hyped it up a little bit to make it cool for direct mail. And we got a 6% response. So we essentially, instead of calling 100 people or 150 people to get 4 to 6 appointments, we literally just sent out the letter. People were calling us, and it wasn't a pitch. They would call us, and it would be like, hey, I just got your letter in the mail. Wow. The big headline about preacher's daughter, because my girlfriend's dad is a preacher, so I just used it. I was like, my preacher's daughter reveals hidden secret for whatever profit. I forget what it was. So it was just shocking, and one of the things that so that was like, oh shit, I know how to write. So to your question, you're like, what was that one point? I was like, dude, that's sick. I can just mail these out, and this was I wasn't even using the internet. You know what I mean? This was just direct mail. I was getting a 6%. In direct mail, 2% response is pretty good, and we were getting a 6% response. I think part of that is also because we targeted small towns that $1,500 would still be fine for a lawyer or a, whatever, a doctor or something in a small town. They're probably making $100,000 a year. They're fine. You know what I mean? And so instead of targeting the big cities that got bombarded with direct mail and all these ads, we just hit these little guys with a shocking freaking thing about a preacher's daughter, which if you don't know, I mean, a lot of people, at least in the U.S., in the small towns, are very religious. So preacher's daughter is going to instantly grab their attention. So, I mean, just for that, I was like,
right?
I'm sorry?
You started from cold calling first?
Yeah, that's how we actually knew the pitch. I mean, I knew why people were buying and not buying, what their hesitations were, just because I was talking to them on the phone. I mean, I realized that it was funny, if I could kind of throw in a cuss word, like shit even, like a minor cuss word, into the initial call, they would probably show up to the actual appointment because they were like, it was like a friend call, not so much a professional. Starts off professional, and then by the end of it, I really try to get to like be their friend. Like if you can cuss with me, you're probably cool, right? Like I don't know, it just worked. So it was call. We packaged the call up, put it into a direct mail letter, blasted that out. Long story short, it was actually working well, the business, and we stopped doing it because we were salespeople and we weren't managers of people in India. We sucked at that. So we were selling more than what we could fulfill, and it was just like, all right, we got to stop this shit. Like, it's just getting too much. And then actually, it was a good transition because at that point, I started getting people to just like, I had bragged about this. I put it on Facebook. I got to say, and I just got people to hit me up and wanted to hire me to write some of their sales copy. So, I mean, that kind of blew up. And for me, writing copies natural to me now. I've done it. I've like done it through martial art, through cold calling, through all these transitions over like a 10-year period. That like I mean, it's easy to me now. But the fundamentals, it's anybody can learn this, and anybody can make money with copy, using copy skills just by having the fundamentals. The only thing, I guess, the veteran or the person who's been doing it for a long time, they're just going to have experience. So they're going to know what pain points they can actually put in there and really agitate. And they may know a few little tricks in here and there, but the fundamentals, man, you don't necessarily have to be the best copywriter in the world. You just have to be better than your competition.
Yeah. That's encouraging. That's encouraging because I have no copy ounce in my DNA. So the fundamentals.
Got it.
Can you talk about the fundamentals? Is it like 3 things or 5 things, or what is it?
I can actually give you, this transitions into some emails. Now, this is a formula I kind of just put together. It's not like a special thing, but a formula I put together for writing Facebook ads. It's very similar to how I write emails for people who have opted in to request my emails. For cold emails, this may not work as well. Again, just because you're disrupting their day and they're not looking forward to your email, right? So for the cold emails, may have to be short to the point and get the call to action. But for the long ones, there's 5 things you can write down. So step 1, and we can do this for a Facebook. I'll use it for a Facebook ad, but you can easily see how this transitions into an email, right? So step 1 is you want to ask a yes question. So for example, you can literally plug this in with anything. If you write this down and plug in, how do I sell a mug or a book? You can sell anything with this. Okay, so step 1, a yes question, or a yes question. For example, do you want more customers? That's a yes question. So that's what you're going to start off with. The second step 2, is a story to relate. So for example, I remember when I was just like you, banging my head against the wall, trying to figure out how to write words that sold. No matter how hard I tried, nothing seemed to work, and I was getting so aggravated, I just wanted to pull my beanie off my head and throw it on the ground and stomp on it. Whatever, right? So that's step 2. I'm resonating with them. So now they're like, yeah, dude, this guy is just like me. Step 3 is what I call the big aha moment. So that's where you say, but then something crazy happened. I stumbled upon this really cool trick that showed me how to write copy in 5 simple steps that made people, buy my shit like crazy. Step 4 is where we would suggest the possible solution. So for example, this has worked for me, and it's worked for thousands of other people. Maybe it'll work for you too. Now that's really important because I'm not right there. I suggest it to them by saying, and I want to actually point this out. I'm suggesting it so that in their head, they're like, man, it's worked for all these people. Yeah, it should work for me, right? They come to the conclusion kind of on their own, right? I'm not just saying this is going to work for you. It's worked for me. It's worked for thousands of people. It's probably going to work for you, right? Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now and then the last step is just the call to action where you say, click here to watch this cool video showing you whatever it is. Right. And that's it. So those 5 steps, you can sell anything. I mean, anything. You just grab a marker, right? Like here's a Sharpie, right? Let's just follow the formula. It's not going to be the best.
Right? It's got to be in that order.
Yeah, that order. Follow that specific order because it just flows perfectly. So, a Sharpie. Yeah. Do you use markers? Yes. I remember when I was using one of my markers, and every time I tried writing, the ink would fade away, and it would just dry up, and it wouldn't work so well. That was step 2. Step 3. But then something crazy happened. I found this really cool Sharpie that no matter how many times I wrote, it just looked so smooth and so clean, and nothing ever messed up. Step 4, millions of people have bought these Sharpies, and I use it all the time. It works for them. Maybe it'll work for you too. Step 5, click the link below to go ahead and get your Sharpie absolutely free. Just order 3 or something, or whatever, right? Boom, and you can literally sell anything just using that formula. Doesn't matter what it is.
So wow, it seems so simple, but then you have those really long, drawn-out sales letters. You can fit with it, or do you break it up into chunks like this first chunk is the same 5, next chunk is a different 5 with a different story? Is that how the long sales letters work?
Well, the long form, there's a few different styles of writing it. I actually there's about a 12-step standard way of writing sales letters, and I'm actually I didn't make this up. I'm just gonna grab it so I don't miss anything. I want you guys to actually get it. There's 12 steps to basically writing any sales letter. And when you do it, you can basically plug and play. Just like my 5 steps did, you just plug and play. And I mean, it's killer. You can just write copy on the fly. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the best copy, but you're going to have the guts of it there, which is what's important. Right. You know what I mean?
You said that Sharpie fairly natural, man.
Yes, but it's not even me. It's the formula. Like anybody can do it, and obviously you get better at freestyling it when you do it millions of times. But it's definitely there. So I want to give you. I've got it in front of me, so I want to actually make sure you guys get this. We don't have slides, so hopefully whoever's watching writes this down. But there's 12 basic steps to writing a formula, and the first step is to. You're getting a pen?
Go for it. I'm going to type it down.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So. The first step is getting attention, right? So that could be like the headline and maybe a little bit of the intro and stuff like that, right? So first step, get attention, right? Step 2 is you want to identify the problem, right? So when you identify the problem, you're saying stuff like, have you ever had trouble, like with this one, have you ever, written stuff and it dries up and whatever? Here's the problem, right? So step 2 is you identify the problem. Step 3 is you provide the solution. So you're essentially, your solution is going to be your product, and that's what you're going to be pushing. Step 4 is going to be you're going to present your credentials. So here's why you should listen to me. This is like a 2 or 3 sentence thing where you're going to be able to say all the cool. So this is like your bragging and stuff. You know what I mean? All right. Step 5 is you're going to show the benefits. And usually these benefits, I like to frame them in bullets. So instead of saying, here's what you're going to get, and just putting like the thing, comma, say, here's what you're going to get, ... bullet, 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 bullet. So it really stacks it up, Okay, so let me pull you guys up real quick. I've got so many tabs up, it's ridiculous. Okay. It's like, seriously, it's so many. I've got to delete some. Okay, so we've done the benefits. Now you're going to give some social proof. This is step 6, right? So you give testimonials. Social proof is going to basically back up from other people in the community that what you're selling is actually good and it actually works, right? Step 7, you're going to make your offer, which is going to be like, get this for, instead of $79, you get it now for $29 or something, right? Step 8, you're going to inject scarcity. So order it now. There's only a limited supply available. Then you're going to have step 9, which is you're going to always include a guarantee, whether it's a money back guarantee or some kind. Even if you can't guarantee money, you want to be able to guarantee, whatchamacallit, you want to be able to guarantee like satisfaction. You're like, hey, I guarantee, if you can't guarantee money, you say, hey, I guarantee you're going to get this on time, right to your house within 5 days or something like that, right? Okay, so after your guarantee, you want to have a call to action, which says, just like it says, click the button below, order right now, do it immediately. Step 11 is you're going to give a warning. So again, you're just going to say, hey, there's only 100 of these available. You've got to order right now. Don't dilly-dally on this. Take action, right? And then the last one is you just close with a reminder, and it's just backing it up again. So step 12 is close with a reminder. But so that's kind of long. Like, I don't even memorize that. When I write my long form letters, I've actually got, that's one of the formulas I use, but I'll put that right there. Like, I'll print it out or just have it, and I'm just plug and play, especially if it's something that I'm having a hard time getting through, like some copy that's just kind of difficult to write. Following formulas, it's just huge. It saves you so much time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So hopefully that can help you guys, right? There's 2 formulas. Got the 5-step one for Facebook ads and kind of emails. And you also do the 12 steps for the long form sales letters and also for the long form video sales letters.
Right, I was just going to say that should apply for the VSLs too.
Yeah, in the VSLs, I actually take a slightly different approach. It's basically the same principle. I follow basically all the same steps, but in the beginning, 9 times out of 10, I start in the middle of the story. So I essentially, instead of saying the do you want more customers part, I just skip to step 2 in the Facebook ads thing where I say, I remember when I was banging my head against the wall, because remember, they've clicked on it, the video auto plays, and it's like, you've got to get them. You know what I mean? So starting in the middle of the story, it's just like, they got to catch up. What's going on? What's going on, right?
Dude, I want to try you, Yeah, I want to try.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't tell people what you're going to do. Yeah, that's what I like to kind of think. Don't tell people what you're going to do. Just do it, right? So if you're going to, don't say, and I'd like to introduce XYZ product. Here's XYZ product. Don't say, I would like to. Like, don't be permission-based. Just, you know what I mean? Do what you're going to do. That's another little point in copy, because there's the long copy, but just because it's long doesn't mean it's good, right? You want to be economical with your copy. So whatever you write has to have a point. Like, it's got to be there to push the sale. And that may be a 50-page thing that's going to really push the sale, but each one of those lines in that 50 pages has to like earn its like spot in the paragraph. You know what I mean? So one of the ways that I do it to be economical, I just say, is this like really needed? Is this phrase really needed in the copy? Does it push it further or no? Right? And chances are you can delete a lot of shit and just get right to the point. Is it being permission-based or telling them?
Yeah, I think permission-based is natural because we don't want to feel like we're trying to be a salesperson.
Right, yeah.
But,
well, I mean, think about it like this. I don't know how, I've done a lot of writing for like the pickup and dating community stuff. And one of the things that's really fascinating from a man approaching a woman in broad daylight to try and flirt with them and get their number or whatever the dealio is, you don't want to be permission based. And I said, now that's not to say you're going to be like this like aggressive idiot or something, but women will generally respect someone who's confident, who knows what they want, who's sure of themselves and sure of where their direction is. So if you're leading a conversation, just like in the dating world, you want to lead the conversation, maybe you're not going to be so permission-based, like, hey, I hope this doesn't offend you too much, but like, what's your favorite color? You're just going to say, what's your favorite color, right? Like, it's simple. So the same kind of rules in pickup and how to like communicate with the opposite sex or whatever is the same stuff you can actually pull into your copy. Copy is like seduction. You're just seducing people to get the sale at the end, which in this case is financial, right? You want to get the money or the opt-in or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, that's crazy. That and it's such a tiny little shift. And a few words that just naturally come out because we're trying to be nice and with our emails, but it actually could be a waste of time, right? And it could. Yeah,
I mean, some of the best cold emails I've done are basically like, hey, I mean, this is actually don't use this script because it's probably not going to work because I'm fucking it up. But it's something like, hey, before you delete this stuff, I want to share something really cool with you. I'm not here to blow up your time or waste your time, something like that. That's not exactly the best pitch. I wish I could give a better one off the fly, but something just literally like 5 lines or something like that, 7 lines. That's what you want for cold emails. And you're not trying to sell. Something very important, just as a principle across the board in copy, is a lot of times people will try to sell so many different things on one piece of copy. And you've got to understand that each element in your funnel or in your sales process has a point. So let's say for a Facebook ad, the Facebook ad's job is not to sell the product that's $19.95. The Facebook ad's job is to sell the click to go to the landing page, which sells the product for $19.95. So the Facebook ad, all the copy for that should be geared towards selling that click and pre-qualifying them, yes, so that they're a better click, but it's to be selling that click. And then, on your landing page is to either get the opt-in or get the sale, but you got to make a decision. Is it one or the other, right? You don't want 3, 4, 5 different options or 5 different offers on one page. It just doesn't work as well that way, Yeah,
that's interesting. Where the ad is to sell the click, and that might be a completely different mindset in terms of structuring what you want to write there versus what's on the landing page, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to just ask yourself, am I giving too much information right here up front, right? So if the person is totally cold, like if you've just met the person you want to be your wife or your husband, you're not going to go straight up and say, hey, I'm Carlos, you're super hot, let's get married right now. Unless you're in Vegas, it may not happen, right? So you have to you have to know, what am I selling? I'm selling the first date. Or if I'm meeting somebody for the first time, I'm trying to close the number. I'm trying to number close. After that, I'm trying to formulate a freaking date so I can hang out with this person and see if we're even compatible. After that, I can move into sex or whatever the next step might be. But it's all in stages, right? So you don't want to go from 0 to 100. There's a process. It's all seduction. Sales is seduction.
Yeah. Dude, that's great. Yeah.
Hopefully that can help a little bit.
Dude, I'm finding it so intriguing that what comes natural to us, we overthink it, and then we include it in everything, and that's really because it feels natural. That's really what's killing us. If we think a little bit more, that the permission-based type of language, the filler language, is fluff, but it just flows so natural. If we take a little bit of time to switch our mindset and say, okay, is that really necessary? Cut that out. It's a lot leaner, a lot more confined and specific. And it might feel...
One thing that'll help works. 100%. I mean, one thing that helps also is when you read it out loud. So if you actually read the copy out loud, it's works like gangbusters, because then you're like, oh, that doesn't sound right. That sounds corny. Delete, that's not supposed to be there. So reading it out loud, or even better, is getting somebody like your assistant or your sister or your brother or whoever to just go read the copy out loud for you. It should be somebody who is not related to the offer or to what you're selling, someone just totally random, because what you want is, there's a few things you want to listen to, but the number one thing you want to listen for is, are they stumbling when they read? So are they having to read something and then go back and be like, no, it's this. Did they mess up on a word? Because that's probably where your reader's going to mess up. And instead of reading through the whole thing, as soon as they mess up, they're out of there. So you take point of that. So when they're reading, you should have your printed out copy or on your computer or whatever. So they fucked up there, circle, that's what I got to fix. They stumbled here, circle, right? All of those pauses and the places where they messed up, generally, that's a good little hack where you can just be like, okay, cool, that's what I can fix, and my copy's more conversational.
Yeah, that's a great exercise. I think that's a great and I'm going to challenge people, after you read it, get somebody and then have them read it back to you, and if they stumble, you X that part out, because it's not. Yeah,
exit out or replace it with what they said. Sometimes they'll say something to replace the word, and that's probably better because it came naturally to them. They were like, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't figure out the word. Maybe it was too big of a word for them, and they're like, screw, I don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so use that. And you want to make sure your copy, even if you're writing to Fortune 100 CEOs or whatever. Your copy should be written at a 5th grade level. It should be so easy to read.
Wow. Okay.
It's painless. So let me think of a really hard word, right? This may not be a good example, but to a degree, the word enthusiastic, that doesn't do anything. There's no emotion coming out of the word enthusiastic, and it's a word that a 5th grader might be like enthusiastic, right? So if they do that, that's not a good word. It should be like super awesome or amazing, crazy, bonkers, that stuff where it triggers something in their mind and it paints the picture and it's like, bam. But just the word enthusiastic, it's not there.
Yeah, that's huge because a lot of people when they write their cold emails, they're trying to be super professional because they're writing to a professional. And that metaphor of enthusiastic versus hey, awesome, might be the big difference. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna make somebody upset. So just if you're gonna test anything with copy and you're gonna write in a way that's conversational, there are gonna be people who are like, this is unprofessional. Why would you write this way? They're not your buyers anyway. Don't listen to them. Just stop. Just delete that shit. This is proven to work. It's worked before me. It's worked since like the 1900s, like 20s or whatever. It works, right? Just talk at a 5th grade level. And whoever says not to, forget them. They don't use the. It's actually funny. My dad used to say the same type of stuff, and then I realized that he clicked on an advertorial. And the advertorial was for, I mean, my dad's in his 70s, so it was more like a supplement type deal. And I was like, look at this. He's talking about no one reads this copy stuff and shit. I'm like, dude, you just clicked on fake news. Got to go buy a Of course copy works. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just got to be targeted.
Yeah. Dude, I'm getting hammered here, man. I'm getting absolutely hammered here, dude. This is so much material. This is incredible. This is incredible.
Good, man. Good. Yeah. Well, I'm happy to help. Hopefully, I was able to help some of the people who are on here watching.
Yeah, and I'm going to be boosting this and sharing it. What I'm also going to do is take my notes and then summarize it, throw it in the description, so they'll get that too as a into it.
Awesome. Yeah, and they can. Hey, can I give a little shout out to everybody real quick to my book?
Yeah, everything, man. Yeah, the one that's on Amazon.
Yeah, if you're watching this, you got even a little bit of value. Go get my book on Amazon called The Copywriting Playbook. It's $9, and you can get it pretty much anywhere in the world. So go check it out. It just hit #1 for the term copywriting on Amazon. I was blown away. I was like, holy crap, like we just hit the #1 spot. So go check it out, Copywriting Playbook, $9.
Nice. I'm going to add that to the link too.
Sweet, man. I appreciate it.
Dude, seriously, this was a lot of stuff, man. I'm going to sit here, try to summarize it, and then add to it. I didn't expect this fire hose of material, man, but because it's so natural for you, I mean, King Carlos, what do you expect, you know?
You're the man, dude. I appreciate it.
Dude, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
No worries, dude. Hey, thanks so much for having me on the call.
No problem. No problem. Thanks. All right, let me end this.